Alright, so today we're going to be talking about EZAs. This is actually the tweet that provoked me to make this video. And it's really funny because I was like, what should I record for today? Dokkan's kind of dry and, I don't know. I feel like I want to try and make at least some interesting more content, right, that other people aren't really talking about. So discussion videos is really, I feel like one of my strongest fortes, right? If there's any kind of like Dokkan discussion you guys want to see me talk about, let me know in the comments below. But for now, I want to talk about EZAs and a big issue that's been going on with EZAs, kind of applicable to this Bardock as well. So I know this is obviously kind of like, a fun little tweet. Ari right here is a big Bardock fan, right? I love Bardock too. I think Bardock's a cool character. Ajo Bardock racing Dokkan with his holy presence after these EZAs. At the end of the day, I hope this EZA does end up well, but I know Dokkan, and I think that this EZA is probably going to be bad because he stacks defense. And that's a pretty big issue for Dokkan. When an EZA stacks defense, a lot of the times they can be very funky, right? And not all the time, right? There are, like, it's not like every single 2-war that stacks defense, like, it sucks, right? But, at least for an EZA, because we have, like, just bring them up. We have Physical Piccolo, right? An example. But we'll talk about that because there's another thing about EZAs. And that's damage reduction, right? We'll talk about that specifically. Well, I guess so I brought it up. The thing with characters that have damage reduction, they're kind of a exception to a lot of these EZA rules, right? I know. To be fair, Bardock also has damage reduction just in the 18%, right? And I'm not sure if they would increase that. I mean, maybe they could. Maybe as a baseline 18%, then he gets another 18% for the 5 turns. And it's like, okay, yes, 36% reduction. He has some stacked defense. He could be an interesting unit. In that case, Bardock could be really good, but I'm not sure. We'll have to see. I mean, base Bardock, I feel like it's definitely going to be very weak. Because the thing with them and defense stacking is that they're very scared of defense stacking. And I don't... Like, for example, Tech Trunks, he's a character that had defense stacking. They gave him greatly stacking defense. And then the main culprit is that you see he doesn't have any defensive mechanics such as guard, dodge, or damage reduction. And then there is also in Goku Black, which we'll talk about in a second. But Dokkan views defense raising as a substitute for those strong mechanics a lot of the times, especially greatly raising defense. I wouldn't be surprised, like, if this guy gets just greatly raising defense and then that's it for his base form, and then they don't give him any other defensive mechanic, and then for the first few turns you're stuck with this mid AGL Bardock, and then all the fights are short, and then it's like you transform with him at the very end of the fight, but then it's like he has like 500k defense max when the boss is doing like 600, 700, 800k normals. By the time this unit EZAs in 2020, I mean, not 2020, this guy's probably going to EZA in like 2020, like 5. And then bosses are going to be doing like 1 mil damage normals, and this boy's going to have like, I don't know, like 700k defense turn 1. It's like, oh, he's going to get demolished, right? At the power that's actually how power creep is going to work, unironically. I mean, even 1 mil turn 1 is going to be a thing, right? But that's the thing, defense stacking, right? I mean, we're gonna just take a look at the EZAs this year, and I kind of want to talk about, why they failed and what they could do, what they could have done to like not make them fail. It is a very sad fate. I mean, a lot of these EZAs actually end up being good. Ajo Blue Gogeta ended up being really good. I feel like, Ajo Zamasu ended up being really good. Funny enough, this unit, they gave him defense stacking, only 20% attacking defense stacking. But again, you look at this, damage reduction. People are like, oh, Ajo Zamasu's so good. They actually did give him an extra 10% reduction here, which is very generous that they did that. But this unit is a unit that has damage reduction. People didn't really expect Future Gohan to be as good as he was, but I did, because he has a 58% damage reduction, which is a huge. I mean, even this is not really that hard to get. 58% reduction is gigantic. It's a huge number. Physical Beerus, they did not, like, this is, like, okay, people saw this and it was like, oh, he doesn't raise defense for the turn. That's an issue, but instead of the defense raise, he got 70% reduction, and then there's Realm of God's enemies, and this Beerus ended up being like really, really good. This Beerus is actually one of the most underrated characters in the game right now. I think this physical Beerus, he is absolutely incredible in like the Dismal Future Red Zone. Now he's not out in global just yet, but he should be out in global by December, November. Tanabata is upcoming within the next few months, so we know this physical Beerus is going to be a thing. And this physical Beerus does really cook really, really well. But then we take a look at some EZAs that haven't been so hot this year. You know, I guess one like even physical Super Vegito, I want to bring him up. He's actually still very usable right now, because a lot of these enemies are in anyways. And then he tanks every single normal in the game with ease. And at this point, there's characters in this AoE meta. Like, there's characters that can't even tank normals. You could throw this guy as a floater on, like, any of these teams, really. And then you could pretty easily have him just, like, counter at the last slot, like, in the third slot, and he'll be fine. He always tanks normals, right? He's not going to be a character you run in slot 1 for damage or anything like that. You run this character as a purely defensive character. You want to give, ideally, you want to give him, at this point, full dodge, for sure, 100%. You give this boy full dodge. And then he just tanks everything with ease. And he cooks. Actually, he can cook, right? He even already has built-in crit, right? So, you know, yeah, I do like that. And like another easy that's good, MVP 17. Guess what? He has reduction. I think he already had reduction, right? Yeah, 40% under 77%. They didn't even get rid of that. Like, it's the same. It's the same restriction. They just give him a little more added to that. He did actually get a defense raise to the turn, unlike Beerus. But this dude is extremely tanky when you're under that threshold. And then the androids came out, and he's really good as well. Even with just a 17% reduction, he's very easily able to tank all normals once he gets this built up. And then under that, he is able to take any super attack in the game with like absolutely zero offer. It's really, really insane. But then we get, okay, now let's finally talk about the bad ones, which I kind of feel like that was the point of the video. But I started harping on about, oh my god, all these EZs are so good. Like these guys right here, this unit, let's see. I mean, who else should I bring up here from this show? Oh, this piece of garbage, dude. Oh my goodness, terrible. I feel like that's, I mean, yeah, there's, funny enough, other EZ2Rs from this year aren't really like that, right? We got a lot of like LR EZs this year too, but a lot of them aren't really applicable. I mean, Kel and Caulifla, kind of. I'll bring them up just for discussion. I don't think they're bad, but they kind of, like, okay, we'll talk about it. And they did kind of not give them what they needed, right? You know, so Ingoku Black greatly raises defense. You can see they gave him nothing. I mean, we all have used Ingoku Black at this point, right? He's a very big character, and especially in global, like the one place where these characters that have greatly raised defense and then that's it, like they're good in, is Omega. But then like a lot of these other characters that have gained damage reduction or gained guard on their EZA or something like that, right, can also handle these short events and against like Omega for the most part, right? So it's kind of like, well, greatly raising defense is not enough, especially for Ingoku Black, for example. Tech Trunks, another character, you know, in all these events that they've been giving us, short events, and he's Tech, by the way, where all these events are ints, where he's at inherently a disadvantage in how the game is currently structured right now. Tech units are just at a disadvantage, because every single boss is ints, and then some of them do AoE attacks, so, like, I mean, I guess, again, in Omega, get this guy stacked up, like, over, like, 8-9 turns, and then he's, like, at a million, 1.5 mil defense. I didn't, he would be able to live a super, right? Actually, probably not. Omega hits for, like, how much does Omega hit for? Dude, it's been a while, actually, since I've looked at Omega stats. There's so many bosses nowadays, like, all these, like, stats are just jumbled in my head. And I'm just like, bruh, right? 1.4 mil, then 40% defense lower. The defense lower won't really affect him. I mean, if they have this guy stacked up to like 1.5 mil, then he would be able to live the super attack, right? So, yeah, even with type advantage, type disadvantage, I think. Actually, maybe not. I don't know. Type disadvantage is weird. But yeah, again, another character. They're like, okay, well, he stacks defense. Let's give him 50% stacks, and then give him no defensive tech. So it's like for most of the fight, he's actually just very weak because it takes so long to stack defense up to the point where you want it to be. And it's like they almost like just don't test these units to see that. And then this Vegeta just straight up sucks. Like, I'm sorry, like even like God Vegeta back pre Wicked Bloodline Red Zone. Oh man, so I keep saying Wicked Bloodline, huh? Dismal Future Red Zone. God Vegeta was okay, but now it's like Blue Vegeta is like the only solid one in it. He's another like turn 10 character, and then Super Saiyan 1, Super Vegeta, Super Saiyan 2, and then even Super Saiyan God is okay at best, but these three first forms just absolutely suck. They're awful. This guys are like freaking 300k defense max turn 1. Like, it's genuinely just disgustingly bad. This unit is absolutely terrible. Oh wait, I switched to the wrong, oh my goodness, okay. Okay, I just kept switching to the wrong tabs. It's fine. I guess. Okay, on tandem, y'all saw that Sakurajima Mai. That was an old layout that Ignit made me. If you guys know Ignit, that was a long. That was long too. Okay, I didn't. Yeah, great chance for key sphere change to get the orbs that you want. I'm sorry, it's kind of funny because I don't even know. I move my mouse around. I don't even know how I clicked on the tab over there, but it happens, I guess, right? And then we have this unit who, again, like they're another demon stack, good in Omega, stuck everywhere else, and it's like you could almost say like there's two ways you could argue. You could argue they need to give these units more, and then not think that defense stacking by itself is enough. Or they need to give us more longer events. And I think it could go either way realistically, but the better way that would be for us as the players is to just make these units better, right? At least in like this shorter content. I just don't see why they feel the need to restrict the units like this. And then when like we would like to give physical beer or something like that. Or, you know, like in Future Gohan and then Angels of Masu, it's like they think like in Future Gohan and Angels of Masu is like they release them with Goku Black and they're like, yep, all three of these back to back to back, they're all really good. And Goku Black sucks, right? You know, it's just very funny. It just really feels like they don't test the units, and you know, maybe at the end of the day, this video is just more me like talking about like. But like I'm very upset with EZAs just right now. It's me babbling around, but they need to like stop acting like greatly raised defense is a, how to explain it, like a substitute for like guard, damage reduction, etc, etc, etc. But now let's go back here. Let's take a look at some of the replies. Instead of saying anything, I'll just Thad being a funny little guy, huh? And that's really it. Alright, well, I mean, again, I hope, like, Agio Bardock ends up good. He has reduction, so maybe he'll be good, right? You know, there's a lot of units upcoming. Check Ultimate Gohan, I wouldn't be surprised if they made him bad, but, like, it's like, impossible to make him bad. Really, actually, like, with just a stat increase and, like, the bare minimum, he's already too good. It's gonna be like Physical Piccolo. Where Physical Piccolo, I bet if they could have, they would have made him bad. But then, like, he's just too good. Stacking defense, scouter, and the 40% reduction. Like, this dude is, like, a character that would be very difficult to mess up with an EZA, like very difficult. Ijo Zamasu, a character with how they do EZAs is very difficult to mess up. Same with in Future Gohan, and then any other future just damage reduction unit, it's going to be a little difficult to mess them up as EZAs, depending on their kit, right? You know, like Tech Exchange Boo is probably going to be really good when he gets his EZA. That's an EZA I'm quite excited for. I mean, it'll probably just be, by the time EZA is just it'll probably just be a better Angel Zamasu, right? You know, so that is quite exciting. But let me know what you guys think. Funny enough, after the video, I realized, oh, I didn't talk about this piece of garbage because he wasn't really stacking defense, right? But this unit also sucks. Another thing that makes these characters suck is when they make these, like, oh, when facing a Goku enemy, or when facing a Universe Survival Saga enemy, guess what? There's none! Why do you have to... Dokkan, you know what content you put out. The last Universe Survival Saga enemy you gave us was in the 6th anniversary, bro. Like, are you serious? Even just tournament participants, the last one we got was... Bojack for the 7th anniversary, dude. Like, And it's one fight. That is like absurdly easy now. No one plays Red Zone Bojack, bro. Like, and then reduction against multiple enemies, the stun, they work more on the stun, and the debuffing is like, oh my goodness, he's a super battle road unit. What super battle road is this unit helping you in? The Universe Survival Saga Super Battle Road that came out like in years ago, so long ago. Like, it actually just, oh, like, what super battle is this guy helping you with? Like, none of these stages will turn it up. None of the space traveling warriors. But besides that, like, none of them. Like, one stage out of the past 30 stages. Oh boy. Oh, thank you, dude. I need help in space traveling warriors super battery, dude. Space traveling warriors as villain teams. I need Jiren on this team, bro. Like, dude, he's not helping anyone in super battle road. He's not, like, he's not gonna be, like, for like 99% of the player base, he's not gonna be the character that's like, he's the final tool I needed to beat space traveling warrior super battle, finally. Especially in an event that we have 4 items in and support memories. Like, what? Design characters for Red Zone. Design characters for the content that is out right now. Not for content that's, like, sure, let's say we get USS Ultra Instinct Goku Red Zone. This guy's still gonna suck there. He's still gonna be bad because he only gets his reduction against 2 enemies, and it's only 30%, by the way. It's not like 30% is like, oh my goodness, 30%, the best thing ever, with his like 700k defense stats. Even with this up, like, we're not gonna destroy boss with this Jiren's overwhelming power, dude. What a fraud. I don't know. What was the point of his EZA if he's just gonna suck? They don't use these characters. What's the point of being quirky with this, right? It's just stupid, dumb. That's another issue with EZAs, though. There's so many characters, like, when facing a Goku enemy. Well, guess what? There's no difficult Goku enemy, too. I said that, but, like, it's fine. It's fine. Okay. I just wanted to put this in the middle. I'll probably cut back to me talking about other bad EZs or something. It is me post recording. Just kind of I want to include Jiren in here because, oh yeah, to be honest, I was putting him in the thumbnail because he sucks, and I'm like, wait, I didn't talk about this guy. So, yeah. And that's it for me today. I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out.